Morning, everybody. I see we're connected, we're online. We can see attendees are starting to come in. It's, wow, quite a lot of people coming in. We have already 80 people connected and we just opened. Good morning to everybody. Alistair, Callum, good morning, guys.
Good morning, Lorenzo. Good morning, everyone.
I can see we're live on Facebook as well. So good morning to our Facebook network and our followers and our social media followers as well. To all the attendees, good morning. We're going to give it another minute or so to warm up and to let everybody come in. I think Callum is also having a few technical issues with his laptop, so I think we're going to try to change that laptop in the meantime. So bear with us for a minute or two, and we will get started. We have about 400 people RSVP'd for this webinar, and it's an exciting topic, expanding your business into Saudi Arabia. I'm currently in a hotel in Qatar. We also have an office in Qatar, so that's the reason of my background. I'm not at the office today, but as many of you know, Creative Zone, we are the largest business setup company in the region. We have now offices in Qatar, in Saudi Arabia, and in the UAE. We've been operating for over 12 years now, and we have supported over 45,000 entrepreneurs successfully set up their businesses, get themselves residency visas for them and their families and their employees. We're very excited about today and this discussion. Saudi Arabia has become an important market for many of us, including our company. But we've seen a lot of people from the UAE going into the Saudi Arabian market to take advantage of the situation and what is happening there in terms of the sort of economic development that the country is going through. So we will touch upon some of these topics. We will talk about why Saudi Arabia and what's a bit of the transformation that is happening there. And then Alistair and Callum are going to go in depth into the sort of different structures by which investors and businesses can enter the Saudi market. I'll give it another minute. In the meantime, tell us where you're connecting from. Are you in the UAE? Are you in Saudi? Are you in other GCC countries? I know that this webinar has been promoted across different nations and countries. So let us know where you're connecting from and say a little hi. I see good morning, UAE, India, Dan from Germany, UAE, Palestine, Vietnam, Turkey, UK, Turkey, UAE, South Africa. Well, it's a very diverse group. Saudi, good to connect from Saudi, Jordan, UAE. This is excellent. KSA, hello to our KSA friends, and we look forward to doing more business with you. Shanghai, London, UK. Wow, this is going to be interesting debate today. Alistair, Callum, your thoughts before we get started?
Yeah, hi. Good morning, Lorenzo. Good morning, everyone. Great to see such a healthy attendee list and such a diverse list of countries as well to everyone connecting. Saudi Arabia is such a interesting country, and we'll obviously go into more detail today. We're extremely excited about not only our growth in the country, but the growth of the country as a whole. It's an incredibly exciting place to be currently. So looking forward to a very fruitful discussion on all things Saudi.
Callum?
Yeah, and likewise, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Just to mimic the comments from Lorenzo and Alistair, we hope you find this discussion very useful on Saudi Arabia setup. We'll go into a lot more details on the different options available for GCC nationals and foreign investment into Saudi Arabia as well. So thank you for joining.
Great stuff. Well, to all the attendees, feel free to put your questions across in the Q&A section or in the chat function as well. We'll be trying to read some of your questions as we go along. Alistair and Callum have a bit of a presentation to share. We wanted to make this as detailed as possible. We just didn't want to have a conversation about things. We wanted to show you steps, the processes, a bit of the timelines, the different structures. So Alistair, if you could share your screen and we can pop up the presentation and sort of the first part of the slides, talk a little bit about why Saudi. I'm going to be kind of reflecting a little bit on that as I was mentioning in the introduction, but clearly the main reasons why Saudi has become such an important place. It's everybody knows sort of the strength of Saudi Arabia as an oil producer and exporter in the world. I mean, this has created the country to have important investment plans for the country overall. They have heavily been investing in building sort of their economic landscape. They have launched over 6 economic cities over the years, now mainly with the launch of NEOM, that is an entire new destination. The King Abdullah Economic City that has been already existing there for a few years and has been attracting a lot of businesses. But overall, when it comes to their economic ambition, it's very clear. The country has set aside $3.2 trillion in their 2030 vision that sees the country really investing in anything related to innovation, tech, healthcare, education. So from a potential point of view, there's very few countries around the world that can match the sort of hunger and the ambition and the need of Saudi at the moment. There's a need for everything and anything in the country now in terms of services and products and solutions. The country has a very ambitious VC fund appetite at the moment as well. It's become one of the most sort of invested locations for people coming up with new startups and innovation. As we were saying, we've seen in the last 1 year, we have set up over 50 companies from the UAE that have gone to Saudi Arabia. And we've seen companies in all sectors, media and marketing, consultancy, e-commerce, project management, trading, all sorts of activities. So Alistair and Callum are going to be touching a little bit on that and what has been our experience so far of the type of clientele and the type of companies that have been moving into the market there. There's also been an announcement earlier last year that Saudi Arabia was recommending for those companies wishing to engage with the government that their headquarters needed to be located, regional headquarters needed to be located in Saudi Arabia. So this makes it more appealing, or the need in this case of many of these companies having to have their head offices there. Saudi Arabia is competing with the UAE when it comes to, you know, that position that they want to take as being a regional hub. So we're yet to see how things will continue evolving. Dubai, the UAE, Abu Dhabi continue to be a very attractive place, and this is the helm and the hub of what we do also as a business. So as we were saying before, we are currently helping people set up businesses in the UAE, in Qatar, and in Saudi Arabia, and that's also a big plus for sort of regional companies that want to use Creative Zone as a hub and help them expand into the region. So that's my little first introduction into why Saudi. I'll pass on to the guys. I'll stay sort of in the background, Alistair and Callum, and I'll join back in about 20-30 minutes, and we'll start reading a few of the questions, and we go a little bit more detail into the structure of things.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Lorenzo, and what a great introduction. As we said, Saudi Arabia is undergoing huge transformation as we work towards Vision 2030, and the amount of investment by the Saudi government that have been committed are pretty eye-watering, and it makes for a very exciting future. Moving on to a bit more specifics about business setup and how business setup works in the kingdom is what I will summarize briefly now. And when looking to set up a business in Saudi Arabia, you basically have two main options. And those options, which way we will go, will actually depend on your nationality. If you are a non-GCC national, you only have one option to set up currently, and that is to set up through a body called the Ministry of Investment of Saudi Arabia, known as MISA. They were actually formerly known as Sargia. They license all non-GCC nationals in the kingdom. We'll be going on to a bit more specifics about their approval process and the documents required in the next slides. The other alternative, and I know we have a handful on the webinar today, is if you are a GCC national, you don't have to go and be licensed through MISA. You can just set up directly at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, which makes the timelines and approval process slightly easier. Free zones are currently under construction in Saudi Arabia. However, they're not yet ready, and we still don't have a definitive date from the Saudi authorities as to when they will be. The laws in general, although some are similar, some are quite different, particularly the tax laws. Foreign tax is applicable, or corporate tax is applicable on all foreign nationals in the kingdom, as we'll go into in a bit more depth as well. There's also withholding tax that will apply to any dividends or profits withdrawn from the kingdom. VAT was raised to 15% in July 2020. However, there has been a commitment by the Saudi government to reduce that back to 5% within the next 5 years. Audited accounts are a must, as is office space. And depending on your business activity, paid up share capital may also be required as well. The last big requirement I'll touch on is Saudization, which is a very real and prevalent topic in the kingdom. It's very stringently enforced, and we'll be going into how Saudization works and also how we can assist with that process as well. As we said at the opening of this presentation, there is huge government spending to diversify the economy. What they have done is also reduced a lot of the traditional foreign direct investment barriers. As we'll touch on now, 100% ownership is now possible under MISA. Under nearly all the business activities, there is still a small select that still requires some KSA national involvement, but it's getting easier and easier to set up in Saudi Arabia. And coming through Creative Zone, we of course help expedite and make that process more efficient. So I'll now pass on to my colleague Callum, who will explain a little bit more about what's involved with setting up under MISA.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Alistair, for all of that useful information. So yes, as Alistair mentioned, there are two main options to establish a company in Saudi Arabia. So if you're a non-GCC national, then the only option for you to hold in the kingdom is to register your company through Ministry of Investment of Saudi Arabia, or MISA. This was formerly known as SAGIA. So there are a wide range of activities to select from. They actually use the ISAC list, the International Standard Activity List in Saudi Arabia, with thousands of activities to select. Now, there are some variety of requirements in terms of the activities and what you select. Professional activities, you can own them 100%. Although there's no statutory obligation for paid up share capital requirements for professional activities or service-based activities, it is recommended to have maybe around about 50,000 to 500,000 Saudi Riyal deposited as paid up share capital in order to have substance in the market for your company. Now, trading activities, they do have some quite hefty requirements for some of the trading activities when applying through MISA. If you want 100% foreign ownership without any GCC partners, you need to have a paid up share capital of 30 million Saudi Riyal. You can reduce this by involving some GCC national ownership into the company. So if they own 25% of the company, you can reduce this to around about 20 million, but that does need to come from the foreign investors' capital. There are a handful of negative lists activity, which is referred to as the negative list in Saudi Arabia. Now, there's certain activities which cannot be owned by foreign investors. They're included oil, drilling, real estate, these type of activities. There's only 15 areas which cannot have any foreign investment in. Standard corporate tax will be applicable on all annual net profits of all foreign investments, which is a flat 20% in the kingdom. VAT is 15% as normal. Again, this will be reduced to around about 5% in the coming 5 years or so. Annual audits are required, just like here in the UAE as well. So they must be submitted on an annual basis. Physical officers are required as well for the registration purposes. You'll need them for certain formalities throughout the company formation, opening bank accounts, depending on the activity as well. Physical presence will be required. And the fees, regarding the MISA fees, the government fees, the first year registration costs come to around about 12,000 for the MISA, but this is actually increased for the subsequent years. This actually goes up to 60,000 for the MISA revenues and costs through MISA. So yeah, if you'd like to move on to the next slide, Ali, thank you.
Sorry, yeah, Callum, and maybe Alistair, you can help answer this as well. One question I could see people might be thinking of asking is, it was referring to the fact of having to have a physical presence, an office space. Is there a possibility for those that want to start a bit small, going into co-working spaces or getting sort of lease agreements from business centers and the sort?
Yes, absolutely. It all depends on the activities. So some activities will be mandatory to you to have a physical office. So once we establish what type of business you're looking to create in Saudi Arabia, we'll be able to help you and assist you with either a virtual or physical office. But yes, virtual offices, co-working solutions are possible for certain registrations and activities.
Great, thank you.
I think, yeah, thanks, Callum, and thanks, Lorenzo. So moving on to activities and how the 100% ownership works, or if it doesn't work per activity, we've got a little table here on the right-hand side, which gives you an indication of what activities do require some Saudi national participation. As you'll see, if you, as Callum correctly pointed out, if you're opening a commercial trading company, you want to reduce your share capital, then at least 25% of the shareholding of the company needs to rest with a Saudi national. If you have the choice to own it 100%, but your minimum capital requirements will increase. And then you can see there communications, insurance, reinsurance, couple of real estate activities, public transport activities. These all require differing levels from 20% to 40% of Saudi national participation. And then on the left-hand side, you can see list of businesses excluded from foreign investment. So these must be owned 100%, catering to the military, security services, fisheries, tourist orientation, and yeah, a couple of others as well. So we'll now move on to the next slide, which will give a bit more information about documents required, and I'll hand back to my colleague Callum to explain.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Alistair. So yes, regarding the requirements, there are certain prerequisites to apply for a company or what's called an investment license through MISA. You need to have an existing business anywhere else in the world which has been profitable and operational for at least 12 months. Once this has been established, we need to submit certain documents to apply for your investment license to MISA. So it'll be the standard documentation. So your commercial register or your trade license of your existing company, a proven track record of the experience with the industry. This can be provided through your financial audit statements, showing that you have been working in the same industry that you're looking to establish in Saudi Arabia. You'll need to draft a board resolution as well. We have templates for this, and just stating your interest that you want to create a company within, and all the necessary corporate documents as well as a Saudi. You'll need your representative of the company's passport details, and a business plan stating exactly what you want to do in Saudi Arabia over the next 5 years as well. So once you've applied for the investment license through MISA, we would then go on to complete all the normal formalities through MCI, Ministry of Commerce, which will issue your commercial register as the foreign expatriate.
There is a good question here, Alistair as well, and Callum in the meantime. Sarah is asking, is a license setup required if you were to expand your UAE-based e-commerce business to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, good question. And yes, the laws there are very similar to here in the UAE. If you're conducting commercial business in the kingdom and on the ground in the kingdom, then yes, you should have a license. If you're sitting in the UAE though, and selling to Saudi customers, there are ways around it, but then withholding tax may apply on any invoices issued within the kingdom. So it would really depend on how the operations are working and so on. So it's a very good question. I'd be happy to have a discussion with that individual sort of post this webinar.
Good. Maybe in the meantime, I will ask our tech team to include, there is a landing page form for anybody that wants to have more information. There is a whole presentation that we can send them, including this presentation. They can fill in their details and we will send them the full presentation and more information about setting up in Saudi Arabia. If our tech team can include the link to this landing page, and anybody interested in receiving the full dossier of options for Saudi Arabia, fill in this form.
Fantastic, thanks, Lorenzo. So moving on, and this will not apply to you unless you are a GCC national. And I know we have a couple on the call today. So if you are a GCC national, good news, the process is slightly more straightforward. We don't have to involve Ministry of Investment, and the key points for setting up are listed here. So tax exposure is not 20%. GCC nationals have to pay an Islamic financing tax called zakat, which is a rate of 2.5%. But then, to be honest, a lot of things are very similar. VAT is as normal, annual audit is still required, office space still required, Saudization is as normal, and on nearly every business activity, paid up capital is not required. These are the general steps to incorporate if you are a GCC national. We will obviously skip out the MISA step, and we move directly on to issuing the commercial registration for the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. We then legalize and notarize the articles of incorporation at the notary, and then we move on to sort of post-license, post-CR setups and approvals from Ministry of Commerce to Ministry of Labour and Social Development to municipality to GOSI to registering with the Authority for Zakat and Tax, and then the WASL registration as well. As you can see there, timelines generally 4 to 6 weeks is standard. Can be shorter, can be a little bit quicker, just depending on number of shareholders, activity, and so on. In summary, that is our brief presentation on the options to set up. And as Lorenzo said, we would invite any questions in the Q&A or chat box, and we'll be happy to go through some now. Back to you, Lorenzo.
Great. Sorry, I was answering some questions on the chat that were coming in directly. Did we go through the sort of the GCC route as well and explain the options for Saudi and GCC nationals? Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We just summarized it there. It's fairly brief in terms of the requirements and so on. Yeah. Good.
All right. So for anybody that has any questions, please, now we can enter into a Q&A session. Please send us your questions on the Q&A or in the chat function here. We'll try to start reading a few. We have one asking, contracting companies to open in Saudi Arabia, can they be 100% ownership? Alistair?
If contracting means building and construction, that still does require some Saudi involvement. But again, there are solutions around that. So again, as I think we're going to repeat a lot of the times, it's a very complex situation in Saudi. The answer is never usually black and white. It will depend on what exactly you mean by contracting. So again, I'll put my email in the chat box, and I'm sure Callum will do the same. And we'd invite anyone to please get in touch with us directly so we can have a discussion offline. But to answer directly, it would depend on exactly what that company's doing in the space of contracting.
Indeed, yeah. I'll please, if Alistair, Callum, you guys can include your emails on the chat so that everybody can write to you directly and ask you any specific questions. And it's exactly like you say, Alistair. I mean, setups in these type of countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, even in the UAE, they're not straightforward in the sense that it requires a bit of an analysis of understanding the type of activity, the structure that the company will have, how many employees, to understand better what would be the best location for someone to set up. I'm trying to read a few other questions here. If we need to do trading by selling electronic hardware, this will require a capital. In this case, I'm assuming this becomes a general trading type of entity, and this will need an important investment into capital, shareholder and capital requirement, correct, Alistair?
Yeah, absolutely. Any trading activity which is owned by a non-GCC national, yes. Paid up capital is required. A business plan showing a certain amount of investment in the next 5 years is also required. So yeah, any trading activity will need that.
Callum, maybe a question that you can help us with. Huri is asking, what would be the best options for sort of freelancers, or I would say, startups and smaller entrepreneurs that want to go and get a taste of the market there and start operating? I'm assuming, consultancy companies, marketing agencies. What would be the sort of entry point option for smaller type of operations?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you can probably see, it's a straightforward process. It is a straightforward process, but you tend to need to be an established business already anywhere in the world. So in terms of startups or freelancers, the capacity or through MISA anyway to accommodate for freelancers. So you do need to have that existing business somewhere else in the world to start. But absolutely, if you've already got that business established, which has been operational and profitable for at least 12 months, then you're eligible to apply for an investment license and your commercial register in Saudi Arabia. So if you're a non-GCC, it would go through the MISA route as long as you've got that existing business established already anywhere in the world.
Good. I see a lot of good questions coming through. They're asking about sort of social insurance type of entities, insurance businesses. Alistair, what do you suggest that this could be set up?
Yeah, I mean, insurance businesses, as we sort of touched on the MISA side, there's some Saudi national participation that is mandatory there. Again, would depend on insurance, reinsurance, so on. But nearly all that insurance space, it's a little bit more complicated, additional approvals and so on. So 100% ownership, generally not possible in the insurance space. But again, would depend on where in the insurance space that individual would like to operate. So again, please do get in touch and we can look into it a little bit more.
How can Creative Zone help with Saudiization, Callum? I mean, this is an important point, and this is part of what we do as a company. I think at the beginning, as we call in our slogan, business setup is just the beginning, is the sort of post-sale support that we give clients in anything that relates to exactly this, helping people with their teams and HR solutions, helping investors open their bank account, their residency visa. So Callum, can we explain, or how is it that we can help with Saudiization program? Callum?
Yeah, I think there's some tech issues. Let me jump in his absence. So Saudization, we're fortunate to be working with a huge number of Saudi nationals in the kingdom. We've also partnered with various recruitment companies as well. So if you need access to Saudi nationals, which is mandatory if you wish to employ non-Saudis in the kingdom, and generally your first hire under any entity in Saudi would need to be a Saudi national, we're able to help source and provide those Saudi nationals to fulfill that requirement. So yeah, it's, as you said correctly, Lorenzo, business setup is just the beginning, and particularly in Saudi Arabia, there is a lot that comes post issuance of the commercial registration, and Saudiization is mandatory for all types of companies there. So assistance, we do provide.
Indeed, and I think it's key to have someone there on the ground, such as a company like ours. I remember when I first came and we set up our office in Saudi Arabia and in Qatar. I mean, there's not a lot of helping people guiding you where to go. I remember going there and getting our trade license, and then having to go and do the medical test, and they wouldn't tell you, that's the thing, that we will pick you up, we will take you to do your medical test. From the medical test, we'll take you directly and do your biometrics. I remember being there in the medical test, and now this government official says, oh, go do the biometrics. I wouldn't even know where to go, right? So we had to go through this whole process and learn it from scratch. And now we are able to hold people's hands and say, take them from here to there. And this is where it becomes such a time saver and money saver, in the sense of helping people through this whole process. What else can we explain in terms of the process? So let's say the license is done, then gets, to getting your residency card in Saudi Arabia, your bank account open, registration for GOSI. Somebody was asking, what is GOSI? Can you go a little bit more in depth into the steps of things?
Yeah, so obviously commercial registration will come first, and then we move on to the registration with the various labor, social departments, which control Saudiization, then onto bank accounts. But then in terms of additional support in running your business, for example, e-commerce businesses, we're partnered with DHL. So if you need logistics solutions in the kingdom, we have them. If you need support with tax and accounting, annual audits, which again are mandatory, again, we have solutions there. We're tied up with auditors. Our own tax and accounting department can even assist with that as well. Saudiization, we've also spoken about. And then, of course, if you want to expand in the kingdom, additional branches, additional office space, we're partnered with Regis, we're partners with ServCorp. So all of these additional services are something that we focus very heavily on, particularly in Saudi Arabia. But those are your traditional steps, if you like, and traditional journey once you set up there.
Great. Mark is asking a good question. He says, as a small company looking for 100% ownership, 30 million riyal is a huge investment. If we had a KSA partner, what would be the minimum share capital requirement?
If that KSA partner was a 25% shareholder, it would drop to around 20 million. And if he was a 100% shareholder, then it would drop to zero. But that partner should be a partner in the business. And to make everyone aware, there is anti-concealment laws in Saudi Arabia that prohibit any nominee sort of sponsorship arrangements. So as long as it is a true and genuine partnership, yes, it can be reduced slightly.
Good, good. Ahmed is asking, so mainly, do we have any capital requirements for a professional license, marketing agency for non-GCC? And if it's 100% owned by me?
Yeah, so MISA have been good and have reduced a lot of the capital requirements on the professional activity. So owning a marketing agency 100%, generally there's no statutory mandatory paid up capital. But as Callum correctly pointed out, it is advisable to keep some capital on hand. So look, it's more an advisory rather than a necessity. But to initially set up, yes, you can own a marketing agency 100%, and there is no mandatory paid up capital.
Nish is asking, do you help with finding a KSA partner? Yes, I can answer that. We do help in that. We have a group of partners and investors that we can introduce you to, depending on the kind of activity and the kind of business that you're looking to. And there's a lot of Saudi partners that we work with that they're open to sort of receiving proposals and understanding how they can partner up with people coming into the country. I see many questions being asked in regards to, are we going to be sharing this presentation? Yes, we will, but I recommend that you fill in the form that we're sending on the link. If the tech team can put again the form there so that we can get people to fill this up, and we will be sending you from there the presentation and all our proposals in regards to Saudi Arabia setups, whether MISA or the Ministry of Commerce. Would you provide consultation on the ICAMAs as well as on how we can start up, we as a startup providing ICAMAs, please? Heidi is asking, Alistair, how do we help people with ICAMAs?
Yeah, absolutely. We assist with that. We assist with ICAMAs. We assist also with, if you need tourist visas. We're also partnering with relocation agents in the kingdom as well that we're partnered with here in the UAE. So we offer a real end-to-end assistance with regards to getting into Saudi Arabia. Of course, dependent visas, if you wish to bring dependents along, again, it's an additional service that our team on the ground in Riyadh can assist with. So absolutely, ICAMAs, visas, this is very much our sort of bread and butter.
Great. I can see people are commenting that they're getting trouble in getting visas organized from VFS and saying that it's very difficult. Alistair, how can we help people with organizing visit visas into the kingdom?
Yeah, we can help. I mean, VFS is the traditional visit visa agents. We have a couple of other ways as well. Our concierge team is working hard. We're also aware of these issues currently. Invitation letters as well, we can potentially assist with, either which from our company or another company. So I'd implore anyone that's struggling in that area, do get in touch with us. I'm sure we have a solution for you.
And we are aware that part of this call today, we have a lot of other sort of corporate service providers and other bankers, lawyers, people that are sort of getting requests from their own clients. So we have a very strong B2B program as well in this regard. If anybody would like to explore how you could partner with Creative Zone and us, helping you sort of white label these solutions to your own clients, Alistair, feel free to reach out to Alistair and to Callum. If you can include your email once again there, Alistair and Callum, so that that people can connect with you. If you have any clients or prospects that would like to explore Saudi Arabia, please feel free to reach out to Alistair and Callum. Callum, I can see that you changed your laptop. Let's give it a go. Let's see how your sound is.
Yeah, change the laptop. So sorry for the technical difficulties there, but hopefully this is much clearer.
Very good. Daniel is asking, the B2B solution, does it apply to your UAE solutions? Absolutely. I mean, we're the biggest business setup company in the region. We are doing over 200 business company formations a month at the moment. So feel free to reach out to Alistair and Callum. We can help you with all your free zone and DED licenses as well. What is the expectation of the Saudi nationals' role? Are they a silent partner, or would they require input into the business activities and processes? Look, Joanne, this is to be discussed case by case. You got partners that will want to, be part of helping you develop your business. You'll have partners that are just happy to be investors into your project and be, that 51% local sponsor, but also invest in the project. So it depends on your activity, your objective, and what you're looking to do in the kingdom. Saudi and Alistair, before I jump back to you, Callum, anything else that you're reading or anything that you would like to add at this point?
No, I just think that the process is getting easier. That's one point I want to highlight. MISA are getting much easier to deal with, even when it comes to some of these paid up share capital requirements, particularly on professional activities, as we've spoken about. They've dropped a lot of them, so it's still some way away, I think, from the UAE in terms of how the UAE free zones are supporting startups, and particularly the price points. And I think it's worth touching on price points as well. Unfortunately, it is fairly drastically more expensive to set up in Saudi Arabia, but arguably there is a much larger market there. We've spoken about the population being the largest in the GCC. It's also got one of the youngest populations as well. So setup price is slightly different to the UAE, but I also think the opportunity may even be slightly more. So, yeah.
Great. Maybe, Callum, at this point, we can try to touch upon some of the examples of the type of businesses that we've set up over the last year. I think this gives a little bit more of an idea to people watching this webinar, and they might relate to what they're looking to do. Can you shed some light on the type of businesses that we've been setting up?
Yeah, of course. I mean, so we really have had a wide variety of different types of clients looking to establish. We've established a lot of professional activities, event companies, of course, through MISA for foreign expatriates. We've established GCC nationals directly with the MCI. They're eligible to open trading every activity as well. We've established trading companies. So we have large corporate clients with that capital requirement who have established through MISA as well. So we really have a wide variety of international clients that have established in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if it was touched on, but we have an office based in Riyadh. So back to Lorenzo's previous question, it doesn't just start with the registration. We will be your consultant through the entire process, through the existence of your commercial register in Saudi Arabia as well. So any after sales, any additional services, we will assist with all of the necessary formalities required for Saudi.
Great. I'm getting a lot of questions in regards to this B2B format. Alistair, I'm sending you some messages already. I think, yeah, definitely this is an avenue to explore. And I may take the opportunity to also mention Qatar. I'm in Qatar myself today. We recently set up an office there. So for all our B2B partners that want to also explore how we can help their clients, you with your clients, set up in Saudi Arabia, in the UAE, and in Qatar, yes, reach out to Alistair and to Callum. I can be reached myself also on my email, which is CEO creativezone.ae. Maybe the team can, my tech team can write that, or I'll put it here. So I think we're kind of getting to the end of the session. Alistair, what would be kind of your final comments for today, and some final advice?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an incredibly exciting time in Saudi Arabia. There is a lot of reform, economic reform, social reforms. And as we've touched on a couple of times in this webinar, the amount of capital that the government have committed to growing and diversifying the economy is truly eye-watering. And there is untold opportunity in the kingdom. When it comes to business setup, yes, there are some fundamental differences to the UAE, but just like here in the UAE, we'll be on hand to advise, guide, and assist in any business that's looking to set up there. So as we've always said on these webinars, our consultations are free. Please do not hesitate to get in touch with us. Nearly all of our team is trained on Saudi Arabia setups, given the huge demand and huge interest in setting up in the kingdom. And I would implore anyone to please do get in touch with us. We're really excited about what's going on in Saudi and how we can assist you expand your business further.
Good, Callum, your final thoughts for today. And Joyce, I'm reading your messages, and that you've been in touch with us already. We're happy to try to keep on helping you. I'm sorry if you face some frustrations on this. Saudi is not a straightforward approach. That's why it requires, maybe she's in touch with Kunal already. Alistair, maybe you can step in there and support that conversation going forward as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Joyce, I will get in touch with you immediately following this webinar.
Callum, a little bit of your final thoughts for today?
Yeah, so it really is an exciting time to invest in Saudi Arabia. They're diversifying away from the oil and gas industry. They're attracting foreign investment in multiple different industries. The economy is booming. They're adapting for the foreign investors constantly. So we're really seeing a huge influx in the investment in Saudi Arabia. It is a great opportunity to invest. I think it's only going to become more advantageous the quicker you get your company set up in Saudi Arabia as well, with all the exciting new developments happening, potential new free zones, new economic hubs, sustainability areas in Saudi Arabia. So it's a great opportunity, a great time. And please feel free to reach out to myself, Alistair, or the team. We'll be more than happy to provide a free consultation on your business setup in Saudi Arabia.
Another good question here. Do you need a full-time HR professional in KSA if your head office is in the UAE? And is a PRO necessary to deal with the authorities? In my previous company, PRO is a mandatory role, and they must have a power of attorney to be authorized to do the transactions. It is my understanding that the first employee that you need to hire under the company is a Saudi national. Alistair, what else can we explain in the role of having a PRO doing sort of the government transactions as well, and what's the role that we can assist with as well?
Well, exactly. You're absolutely right, Lorenzo. The first time must be a Saudi national, and yes, you do need the PRO to complete the government transactions on your behalf. And Creative Zone could be that PRO. That's exactly the service that we offer, and exactly the service we've been offering for the past 12 years, not just in the UAE, but now Saudi Arabia and Qatar as well. So again, that's the role that we can fulfill. That's our offering. And that's our service. So please do get in touch and we can discuss a little bit more.
So we do have a pool of a database of those first hires that you need to do. And that first hire becomes a bit of that company PRO, but it becomes a connection between your company and our company, in the sense that we could still be the ones doing all the running around and the connections with the government, submissions of documents, on behalf of the company, and with the support of this first hire, that will be your first sort of PRO in the company. Trying to read a few more questions. People thanking so much, asking if we're going to share the link of this session. Yes, we will be sending an email after this with a full presentation and the full recording of today. People are asking about ADGM and SPV structures. we're happy to answer those separately and send you more information on those structures as well. So yeah, I'm trying to go through the questions. I think we covered it all. Going into the Q&A section one last time, I think it's all there. Talking about standardization. No, look, I think we covered it all. Again, as a final message from my side, it really pays off having someone holding your hand throughout this journey. As I said, it's all these little details of someone helping you with all these requests and these requirements, whether it's helping you, get your visa, doing your medicals, getting the right license, getting the right activities. It's really important that you do it with someone that is on the ground like us. I think we reached the end of it. I would like to thank you, Alistair and Callum, for taking the time. To all the attendees, we had 150 people connected. And on our Facebook Live session, we had also 150 people there. Thank you once again. We look forward to engaging further with you. If there is anything that we can do from our side at Creative Zone, you got all our details, Alistair's, Callum's, and my email. Our landing page is there. We look forward to working with you. Thank you so much for being with us today.